Morning, everyone. Welcome to the weekly Skill Bridge meeting. Hope you guys had a fantastic Labor Day. So today we're going to be talking about how you can be like the Remora fish. Anyone heard of the Remora fish? Al, Justin, Juan. So the Remora fish, it's one of those, it's kind of like the sucker fish that sticks to the window at your, again, if you have an aquarium. But in this case, the Remora fish sticks onto sharks or other large sea creatures like whales and benefits from being able to travel along with them and eat some of the scraps of the whatever that creature is eating, but also gets to travel around with them, and then is also helping out that larger creature by eating kind of like stuff that can cause diseases on that animal, on the shark or the whale. And so it's kind of a team effort. And when you first look at it, it might seem like the Remora fish is kind of being a freeloader, just catching a free ride on a shark, but it's really not the case. They're both helping out each other. So what does that have to do with real estate? Let me share my screen here. So another fancy presentation brought to you by Gamma.app AI. And so you may have seen some of the comments or the prompts that Tasha dropped in the Slack app saying like, hey, use these listings or team successes for your own marketing. And I just wanted to kind of emphasize that, because when you're starting out, especially coming from the military where it's highly frowned upon if you try to like take credit for something that isn't entirely yours, or in extreme scenarios you see people talking about like stolen valor, somebody trying to claim they did some amazing thing that they really didn't. And so you have all those ideas in your mind, and coming into real estate, you kind of apply those same types of principles, but it can be kind of detrimental to you, and it's also detrimental to um, your teammates that you could be helping out with, celebrating their successes. So what are some ways that you can do that? So your teammates have both buyer and seller clients that they're working with that you can, even if you don't contribute to the success of getting that deal closed, you can still use those closed deals to market yourself and market them. You can ask whoever the agent is. Even a lot of times, even if it's not a person that's on your team, you can reach out to the agent. Hey, I saw that you sold this house for 10% over list price. Do you mind if but they're party brokerage, but you ask them, do you mind if I, advertise, hey, look at this house sold for 10% over list price, and put my face on it. And 9 times out of 10, I would say that agent is going to be totally fine with it. They're going to see the benefit of their listings getting out there and getting more eyeballs from more potential clients. And they also will have a sense of helping out the community by letting kind of feed off of their success as well. Same thing goes for buyers. You can kind of interview the buyer's agent on what the like highlights of that transaction were, and then you can kind of retell that story. Like, hey, I just want to share this amazing story about how this teammate of mine helped this buyer get this property for a great deal and great area, whatever the details are about the neighborhood. And when people see that, when people see you advertising this property that was bought or sold, they really don't care, and they're really not going to dive much deeper into evaluating if it was your name on the purchase agreement or on the sales contract. They're not going to dig deep into identifying those details, and so they'll just see property sold and your name and associate you with doing business and closing deals, and not just not just putting out random information about the real estate market. And so, and it's especially beneficial with the Gwilt team, like all the agents that are across the country. You can also use it for advertising, referral opportunities. So if somebody knows that you're, like in my case, everyone knows that I'm in Hawaii, and so I just had a friend of mine reach out to me last week. He's like, "Oh, too bad, um, you're not in DC," or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, I can connect you with a friend that is in DC," and so I connected him with an agent that works in that area, and then and now it's once they close that deal, I'll get a 25% referral fee. Does everyone know how referral fees work? Quick side topic on that. No. So when I first heard of referrals, like I always thought like I just because the only familiar knowledge I had of referrals was with like referring somebody to like subscribe to the same internet that I had or something like that. And it was like a $50 referral fee or like a $25 Starbucks gift card or something. I always, in my mind, I always thought it was kind of a small um, fee that you could get by connecting somebody. But in the case of real estate, you're talking 25% most of the time. Like it depends on what you ask for. There's no set amount. Just like with commissions, there's no set amount. You you ask or you send a contract really to the agent that's going to be helping out your friend, relative, whatever, with that real estate transaction. You send them a contract saying, "Hey, I'm sending you this business. I would like to have 20, 25, 30%, maybe more of of that closing." And then also you can even put in there special terms like, and any other um, connections that come from this person. So like if you're sending someone like maybe you have a really good friend with like a developer or something, and you're like, oh, every closing that comes from this connection, as well as all of their friends. So that could be you go from one transaction to like 15 or 20 or maybe more, and 25%. So for every 100,000, if you, let's say in a hypothetical scenario, you're getting 2.5% for the sale of the home, that would be $2,500 per 100,000. And so whatever your average price point is in your area, divided by 100,000 and multiply it by 2,500. That's what the total commission would be. And then if you're taking a fourth of that, so it's basically every about $500 or $600 every 100,000. So out here in Hawaii, average condo goes for just over 500,000. So 5 times 6, that's like a $3,000 referral fee. And then up to for single family homes, the average is about 1 million. And so that's double that. So $6,000 just for giving somebody your friend's name and phone number and email and sending some paperwork over. Um, we actually just had one of my friends' wife is in real estate. She's out in North Carolina, and we were able to work out a referral for that. And all she did was so I had a post on on Facebook that was something about buying or selling, just a random nothing about like a recent sale or anything. And that friend tagged her friend who is buying, tagged her in the post, and I was feeling generous, like, hey, you want to? She even asked for it. I was just like, hey, can you send over a referral form for that? I'll give you 30%. And boom, a couple months later, she gets a check for like 5 or 6 thousand bucks. So it can really be that easy. Any questions on anything I've talked about so far? Any contributions? Is this okay to do about using the more fish method, advertising other people's successes? Okay. Um, some other benefits that come along with being like the Remora fish. Um, so you're not just helping out yourself of like establishing in people's minds that you're now a realtor, not um, military position, so and so. Uh, One of the other benefits is your networking opportunities. So you'll start to establish a reputation with other agents of being a team player. Um, Example of that I just had recently. One of our friends that's a realtor with a different brokerage. I checked out one of her listings. It was a really nice place, lots of renovations, and she's in a bit of a crunch to get it sold ASAP for the seller, sort of trying to help out her client. And I saw that it's a great property, that it's just for whatever reason, probably due to the interest rates not being 2%. That's probably the reason that it's been sitting for a little bit. And so I checked it out. I saw how it's a great property, and then on Facebook I saw that another realtor within EXP was asking in one of the like community Facebook groups, saying that they had a buyer looking for a house in a certain school district with a certain number of bedrooms and baths. And so I saw that, and immediately that property came to mind, and I posted in his I replied to his post, "Hey, check out this property, MLS number." And fast forward a week, they checked it out, put in an offer, and now they're negotiating and on opening up escrow. And then that agent, or sorry, our friend, um, called us, and she's like, "Hey, I was at this brokerage meeting for her brokerage, and I was bragging about you, about how you tagged my listing in that post." And I was like, like in my mind, I'm just like, it's not really that big of a deal. Like, I'm happy to help, but if you think about the effects of that, so in this meeting with a bunch of realtors from this other brokerage, um, she's bragging on how helpful and much of a team player I was. So if my name now stands out in those people's minds, it's like, oh, that was kind of a nice gesture of that guy to do. So now when I either put in an offer on a listing that's from that brokerage where somebody heard about that, or somebody's like putting an offer or like sees my property on the MLS or whatever, just think about how that's going to shape that interaction and those relationships, and people, and your reputation will just continue to grow like that. And so people will be more willing to put in an offer, because I know there are people on the market, or there's realtors out there that I will avoid to the max extent possible to interact with, because they're just not good people, for one. And I know that they'll be making it as difficult as possible to make it a smooth transaction. Um, can someone try to say that that's wrong or unethical for me to do that? Sure, but looking forward to how that transaction would go, and how that unpleasant realtor would just make things really miserable. I'm saving that my client, protecting my client from having to experience that. So think about all the stress that goes along with moving, whether you're selling your property or buying a property, all the stress that's involved, getting your stuff packed up, getting relocated, getting school started, getting checked into base, all those stressors, and then have added on to that an agent that's being really difficult, making it impossible to like see the property that you're about to buy, or making it just really difficult to get any kind of information about the property, history of the home from the seller, all that stuff. And so in reality, in that type of situation, you're protecting your client from that. And then conversely, like the other way around too, if it's a great agent that's going to make the experience amazing, you're going to want to work with that person. You want to have that amazing experience for your client, so that they can have a peace of mind that they're getting into a good property, they know everything about it, because the other side is giving every piece of information they need to fill any gaps and make it a smooth transaction. And then yeah, their buying experience is something that they really appreciate about that particular move, or about their memories of that home. I was just Another side story. I was just talking with some friends at a dinner. We went there after a friend's pinning ceremony, and they're saying that they deleted their buyer's agents transaction was over because it was just such a miserable experience for them. And they said they actually became better friends with the other side's agent. And so after hearing that, I was like, wow, I wonder if there's any clients that I've had that um, had an experience like that and I didn't know it, or going forward, if there's anything I can do to ensure that that never happens, because yeah, your reputation will follow you. Anything anybody has to say or contribute or ask questions about?
Hey Zor, can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey man, what's up? Thanks for doing this. I know sometimes it feels like you're, you know, not a super interactive audience and stuff, but I just want to say thank you. I appreciate that, and I see the value. And thanks for kind of explaining to the referral kind of process and how that works a little bit. Because I was kind of curious on that. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nate. Thanks for the feedback. I know a lot of times when I was first starting this program and stuff, I'd hear different lingo thrown around here and there, and I thought I knew what it was. And I think most of the stuff that I'm talking about is not anything groundbreaking, but afterward, I later realized like I thought I knew what something was, but really didn't. And so whenever I kind of like with briefings in the military, where you're talking about acronyms, and you're
Yeah.
you're like a civilian audience or something, and you're like, we're gonna do the ML NLT, the TD. It's like
Yeah.
what? And it's like you can probably piece together based off of like fluctuations in the voice and context, whatever. But yeah, thank you for uh, pointing that out and giving me feedback on that, because validates that it is important to explain that lingo and whatnot.
Yeah, I think it's the lingo, and I think it's also sometimes I understand the overall general concept of what it is, but how it happens is also helpful to for me to know as well. And like what's industry standard or norm for a referral fee, right? Like I know it can vary some, but like what's a ballpark on it? So all that was helpful for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to help. Some co-branding and shared success stuff that I've seen other people do. There's a few agents where I'm like, how's this person like partnering up with an agent on the buy side on so many deals? And what I suspect is either that person's just reaching out to those agents, like, hey, do you mind if I celebrate your success with you? And tell everybody how our brokerage helps. And so our brokerage has, I think, around 600 agents on the island. And so I'm sure you have a lot of agents in your area as well. And so what I suspect she does is she reaches out to, probably someone that's like in her like tight knit group of agent friends, and hey, do you mind if I celebrate your success with you and put it on my social media? And so think of like if somebody within your command, like if somebody within your unit was like they just did some kind of good thing, kind of either thing for like volunteer work or just good thing in your line of work. It's like in my line of work, in the military helicopter stuff, like, oh, my buddy just lifted a howitzer and carried it 50 miles across the ocean, whatever. Um, like, why would he not be okay with me, bragging on him? I'm not claiming that I lifted the howitzer. I'm saying, oh, check this out. One of my fellow pilots lifted this thing, um, and check out all these cool photos and whatever, how it's beneficial to the operational success of our unit. And so just translate that into real estate stuff, and you can advertise somebody else's successes, and they'll totally be okay with it. Any other questions, contributions? Another
I'll
little
speak up
talking
for a
point.
minute.
Go ahead,
So,
Justin.
uh, so just because I know there's a few of us that are pretty new on the team on the call. So I got my first like legit like out of the blue call yesterday for from an interested buyer, right? So I'm about 2 months into the internship, and so like I have like a minimal understanding of everything, but not a full understanding of anything. And so it really catches you off guard, especially on a holiday, right? Because I was like, okay, today's going to be a down day, relaxing day, just going to barbecue. And then when I got that phone call, it was like, I really have to step up and figure out like all these things and all these pieces that I've gathered and then get it together. So I think the first thing, like last week, I know we did some uh, role playing, which actually proved to be very, very beneficial. But I think when you actually have another human being on that line for the first time that's really interested in buying a property, you know what I mean? The best advice I could give is have all the documents that you're reviewing through the internship and have those organized. You know what I mean? So like in my files, I have, buyer representation, seller representation. And had I been a little bit more organized yesterday, I think I would have probably gotten through the call a lot easier as far as like having the intake form ready, the buyer agreement, buyer broker agreement, and all those things. But I would say it was a great learning experience because now I certainly have all those things together, but I did not have my stuff together. And really, was I prepared for an actual client to call yesterday and start asking about a property? So there's so many things, as far as even trying to use the MLS, send that information to the client to not uh, in the proper way to make sure you're not breaking any rules or anything. It was a valuable learning experience, and I think that the best way to move forward is just continuing to have those tough conversations. Selling yourself as a realtor, I think, is pretty important, but just having everything organized and just be ready for that call because it really can happen any minute. And
Thank you,
so, like,
Justin. Yeah, good.
exactly what you're looking at here, providing value to the clients, like I almost opened that part of the conversation and I was like, you know what, I'm not really prepared to show what my value is yet. And so that's kind of my to-do list today is figure that out and then call that client back.
Thanks for sharing that, because yeah, you really don't realize what you need to know and the things you need to have like readily available, the words you need to say, all that stuff until it actually happens. And so like everyone here that hasn't had that happen yet, take that as like a warning to like, or a motivation to get those reps in practicing that stuff. You don't have to have an actual client to do that. You can either like pair up with like your accountability partners in the Slack group, or ask your spouse, your roommate, your neighbor, hey, I just want to get some practice in what it's like to work with a client. Do you mind being my fake client? And they're going to ask questions, and then it's going to put you in that mindset of, oh crap, that's something I need to do. It's this checklist that I need to put together so I can, adequately make sure I'm covering all my bases. I'm asking them all the questions I need to ask them, so that I'm not like, hey, so you want to buy a house? Cool. How much you want to buy it for? All right. And you hang up the phone. Oh yeah, I should ask them like, how many bedrooms do they need? Do they want a garage? All that, what location? All those things that start coming to mind um, when you're actually in that situation. And so if you practice it now, you'll be in a much better position. Thank you for sharing that, Justin. And another thing that you made me think of is if you ever have business slowing down, plan a vacation or try to take time off, like planned time off, because that's out of nowhere, just business starts popping up. So plan a trip to Europe or Mexico or something, then out of nowhere, everyone wants to buy and sell a home without fail. That Justin touched on another really good thing is yeah, like clicking through the MLS, setting up the search, like all those things you're gonna um, need to know how to do, and things that help you to provide value to the client. Um, you once you do them, you'll be it kind of just becomes rattling off like what you do on a daily basis. Like, what do I do to provide value to a buyer? Okay, so I give you my thorough knowledge of the area, about the price points, the history, the different types of building materials that are used for the home. I'm also going to give you data on what properties have sold for in this area and give you information on any kind of credits that or concessions that were made in these previous transactions so that you're able to make a better decision on this and get the best deal possible. I'm also going to keep you up to date after you close on the home. I'm going to keep you informed throughout the time that you own this property on the history of sales in your neighborhood, how your property value is continuing to increase, all that stuff. And it really just becomes talking about just what you do instead of like trying to brainstorm on ways that you can provide value. Let's click through these things real quick. Client testimonials. So you can get client testimonials for your teammates, helping them out by getting those testimonials. That can be a thing that they want to do but never get around to doing. And so you can reach out to their clients, you can ask them if that's okay with them and get those testimonials. And then you can post those on your social media. Hey, this is the feedback that we got from somebody on our team's performance in helping this buyer. It doesn't have to be, this is what I did because you didn't do it and you don't want to feel awkward trying to claim somebody else's testimonial. We could say, hey, look at this review for a client that our team helped. And so people see that. And a side note on testimonials, you kind of want to hit all the different types of personalities for your testimonials. So if you have like people out there that are really detailed and all they care about is the numbers, or all they care about is the style of the home, or all they care about is the experience, all these different personality types. And so you can find different testimonials or collect different testimonials to fit all those different situations so that when you're working with a buyer or a seller, you can be like, hey, and you kind of get a feel for what their personality type is. If they're like the detail type, you can get your testimonial that you got from somebody that was like, oh, I really appreciated Justin's really thorough analysis of the market. And he really broke down in great detail everything I needed to know to ensure I was making a precise and educated decision. And you provide that to that person who has a personality that's geared towards that kind of stuff. And then they're like, oh yeah, this person's a perfect match. Um, and yeah, just another idea for how you can help somebody else, help out your teammates while also helping out yourself and building testimonials. Just clicking through a few of these other things. Feel free to chime in if anyone else has any other questions or contributions about any of this stuff.
Hey Zor, whenever you first started, um, did you have like a local mentor, or did you get all your experience just working kind of like how we are, just doing 100% remote and everything online?
So I was in kind of a unique situation where I did both the mentorship route and the team route. At the time, the Gwilts were not out here in Hawaii, so but they did pair me up with a team that were friends of theirs, and so I got the team experience by joining that kind of small team and had a really great mentor, not an EXP mentor, but a guy that was very helped me out a lot, showed me the ropes, negotiating, contract writing, all that stuff. And so I got to benefit from him with all that type of really like business type focused stuff. And then I also had an actual EXP mentor, and she's been an agent on the island for like 20 or 30 years. And so I also got to benefit from her and her experience with like local neighborhood knowledge and all that stuff and kind of like the history of the island, and all that. Does that answer your question, Justin? Yep. So for those of you that haven't onboarded yet, you will be assigned if you join if you're in an area where the Goal Team is against everybody because the way the system is set up now. You'll be on the team. If for whatever reason later on you want to be assigned a mentor and you haven't closed any transactions yet, the way that mentorship program works is you get paired up with someone, an agent in the local area that's going to guide you through the first 3 transactions that you pull in, and they'll share all the knowledge that they have on the local area, local market, neighborhoods, all that stuff. So lots of different resources out there for information. You just got to get out there and ask for it. Alrighty. Well, that's all we've got for today. If anyone has any questions, feel free to stick around. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording.